Hey guys, this is Sports with Dylan. Lamar Jackson, a 2019 NFL MVP, has requested a trade from the Baltimore Ravens, which comes as a surprise to really no one. Lamar Jackson has been given no weapons aside from Mark Andrews, a couple of running backs in Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins that could be good, but are currently struggling with injuries. And they have 2021 first-round receiver Rashad Bateman, who is yet to do very much in the NFL. But besides that, they have no one helping Lamar Jackson. They have no weapons. It's a miracle Lamar Jackson does what he does, given the weapons they've put around him. Aside from Mark Andrews, who is a superstar, he has no supporting cast. And you'd think this offseason, after seeing that, they would try and help. They might sign a couple receivers. Maybe they'll draft somebody. That could still happen. But the only receiver they have signed is Nelson Aguilar, who is not a suitable option to please a quarterback. The other reason that Lamar Jackson is requesting a trade is that he has yet to receive a contract extension. He just received the franchise tag, but he has been negotiating for quite a while and they have not come to terms. That could be partially because Lamar Jackson is his own agent, which is never the best idea for a player to be their own agent. Things tend to go slower. Sometimes a player demands way more than they should get. Sometimes it's just one small clause. So that is also a problem for trading Lamar Jackson, because he is not able to negotiate with other general managers the same way an agent would be able to. It just doesn't work as well. So teams aren't easily able to trade for Lamar Jackson, and even if they could trade for him, then they don't know if he'll sign a contract extension, because there are some rumors saying he wants as much guaranteed as Deshaun Watson, which is the entire contract. And if that is the case, then that could pose to be quite the issue, because no GM wants to pay as much as Deshaun Watson's making, except for some reason the GM of the Browns, Andrew Berry. Like, even Patrick Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers aren't guaranteed as much as Deshaun Watson. I could rant on that for weeks. It makes no sense to me why they decide to play someone who hasn't played in a year and might be suspended for the entire year. He wasn't, but he's still suspended 11 games. An entirely new contract. When he was under contract for quite a while longer, he didn't need a new contract. They just replaced the other contract, which is already quite large, with an even bigger contract. It makes no sense to me, because it's not like his play had drastically improved since he signed the first contract extension. Anyways, I am noticing that I'm really getting off topic right now. All I am saying is GMs do not want to pay a quarterback as much as Deshaun Watson is making, especially with Lamar Jackson's play style. That is the biggest problem. He's a runner. And you guys saw what happened to Cam Newton. He was a superstar. He won the MVP. He led his team to a Super Bowl. They ended up losing the Super Bowl. Played another couple good years. Slowly went downhill. Injuries caught up to him. Eventually gets released by the Panthers. Goes to Patriots. Has a mediocre year at best. Then re-signs with the Patriots. Patriots draft Mac Jones. Release Cam Newton. Midway through the season, he signs with the Panthers. Does not play very well. And he's been a free agent since. So, he went downhill very quickly. He's only 30 now. So think of Lamar Jackson. He runs a ton, and he gets beaten up. And even in these past 2 seasons, he's already missed significant time, just with small injuries. So, what could happen? How long is it until Lamar Jackson tears his Achilles, or ACL, or MCL, or something? He's gone for the season. He might never be the same after that. And GMs aren't exactly willing to take that risk. On the other hand, Lamar Jackson is an amazing quarterback when on the field. He's a superstar, and any team would be more than happy to have him, as long as they don't have to pay him a buttload of money, which they might have to. So I am going to talk about the best destinations for Lamar Jackson. And I left out the Dolphins and Patriots from this list, very notably, because I think both of those rumors are absolutely stupid. And both of those could come back to bite me in the butt in a couple of weeks. We'll see. But at this point in time, first of all, Tua Tagovailoa was a superstar this year. He was an MVP contender despite missing plenty of games. Why would you give up on him? Sure, he's had concussion issues, but I bet you he will have a healthy season this next year and be an MVP contender once again. Besides, the amount more they'd have to pay Jackson, as well as what they'd have to get up to get Jackson, it would be stupid to give up on Tua at this point. On to the Patriots. Mac Jones is not quite at Tua's caliber, but he is still a solid quarterback. And keep in mind, Tua took until his third season to break out. Plenty of quarterbacks do. People want to rush quarterbacks nowadays. But they need to realize that some quarterbacks just need their time. Trevor Lawrence, he's been pretty good, but he hasn't been great. But it's entirely possible this next year he could rocket up into a superstar. And Mac Jones is in the same place. He had a very good rookie season. And although he did go downhill a bit in his second season, he could easily rise back up to the top in his third season, especially with a new offensive coordinator in Bill O'Brien, who I don't love, but honestly, anything is better than Matt Patricia and Joe Judge. Plus, they've added some weapons for him with Mike Gesicki and Juju Smith-Schuster. This team should be better, as well as Mac Jones himself. So, it wouldn't make sense to give up a buttload of picks to get Lamar Jackson. I don't think he would improve that team that much. Plus, Bill Belichick's just not the type of general manager to give up a bunch to get a player. He'll give up as little as possible and make a player a superstar. Think of how many undrafted free agents have become superstars in Belichick's coaching system. So, it would not make sense to give up that much for the former NFL MVP. But some realistic destinations would be, starting with the Falcons. The Falcons are building quite the roster. They have made some notable additions in free agency. And being in a weak division, I do believe if Desmond Ridder can play well enough, they should win it. But we don't know. Desmond Ridder is really an unknown. He was a third-round pick in the 2022 NFL Draft. And we still don't know what he's going to do this next year. He is what the team is going to be. He is their X factor. If he plays well, this team will win the division. No problem. But he could equally as easily play awful, and this team will be one of the worst in the league again. Now, it's possible that they'll just go through with it. They might as well give Desmond Ridder a shot. But at the same time, last year, they were invested in the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes. So why not try again with Lamar Jackson? Especially given that the Ravens would love this deal. They would get Desmond Ridder in return, likely, who is a solid quarterback they could take a chance on. And the Falcons would no question win the division, and it could even make a deep run. There aren't that many superstar quarterbacks in the NFC. You've got Jalen Hurts, you got Kyler Murray, who's on an awful team, and you got Aaron Rodgers, who's about to be shipped out. Aside from that, and Dak Prescott, who's pretty good, but I wouldn't argue he's at Jackson's level, no question. So, the Falcons team could go really far with a quarterback like Lamar Jackson. Another good destination would be the Colts, although I don't like this one quite as much. We'll have to see what the Colts do. I think they'll draft a quarterback they're trying to retool. But maybe they just want to get their future quarterback in someone who's young, but is proven already, which would be Lamar Jackson. It makes sense that they would get another superstar quarterback. But at the same time, based on the luck they've had in the past couple of years with quarterbacks, it would make more sense, in my opinion, to draft somebody instead of take another flyer on someone that could end up getting injured right away and just be the next Andrew Luck in the end of his career, where he was just perpetually injured. The last destination I'm going to talk about is the New York Jets. We all know they have a solid roster, but it sounds like they're going to go through with the Aaron Rodgers trade, in which case you can just scrap everything I say in the next 30 seconds. But so far, an Aaron Rodgers trade has not gone through, and Zach Wilson is listed as the starting quarterback on the depth chart, which we all know how that would go. They have quite the defense, they have some good weapons, they have a good offensive line. This team would be great for Lamar Jackson, which is weird. I've never said that many compliments about the New York Jets in one sentence. But they are a playoff contender if they can get a solid quarterback. That's likely to be Aaron Rodgers. But if that doesn't go through for some reason, then I think Lamar Jackson would make plenty of sense there as well. The other teams I'm just going to give quick shout-outs to would be the Tennessee Titans, Washington Commanders, and Detroit Lions. I don't think the Lions are in the place where they would trade for a superstar quarterback. It sounds weird, but Brad Holmes, as the Lions GM, strategy has always been to build up the team through the rebuild, which he's been the GM for about 2 years, so we don't know that much about his strategy. But it doesn't quite seem like the Lions to trade for a superstar quarterback. I think they're more likely to roll with Jared Goff, maybe draft someone in round 3 this year, round 2 or 3, or they can wait until another year and draft a quarterback then. But I don't think the way would be to trade away a bunch of picks that you've built up for Lamar Jackson. The other team is the Tennessee Titans, which doesn't make much sense to me, because they would have to release Ryan Tannehill. And Ryan Tannehill is a fine starter, but the bigger thing is that I think they are going downhill rapidly. I mean, look at their weapons. They have Derrick Henry, who, don't get me wrong, is one of the best running backs in the league. But aside from that, they don't have any very good receivers or tight ends for Jackson, and their offensive line sucks. So I don't think that would be the best destination either. The Washington Commanders was the other team named, and I don't hate them, but the problem would be that I think they are set with Sam Howell and Jacoby Brissett. It sounds stupid, but I always liked Sam Howell in college, and Jacoby Brissett was a fine starter. I don't think the Washington Commanders are a superstar team. Plus, they now have so much money tied up in Jonathan Allen and Deron Payne's contracts, and they're probably about to re-sign Montez Sweat and Chase Young. They don't have the cap space to take on what Lamar Jackson wants, unlike the other teams' names. So, I think the other destinations named prior to this would be the best. But there's one destination that is better than all for Jackson. That's the Baltimore Ravens. They are a good team, good defense, good coaching. They still have Mark Andrews and a good offensive line. They can easily draft someone this year, and maybe he'll break out in his first season. And it's not too late. They could trade for a receiver like DeAndre Hopkins. He's the first receiver on the trade block I can think of off the top of my head. But there's other guys that they could trade for easily as well. And I think that would make sense. Plus, it's just such a good fit. Lamar Jackson fits perfectly into the Ravens coaching style that John Harbaugh has made. So I don't honestly see him leaving, especially given the contract he is demanding and how much it would cost for any team, how much they'd have to trade away to get Jackson. But we'll have to see. I do have a couple videos coming pretty soon. I'm waiting for the NHL playoffs to all be locked up until I make an NHL playoff prediction video. I will also be making a mock draft pretty soon, and I'm just waiting for the stupid Aaron Rodgers trade to go through, because if for some reason that doesn't go through, then the Jets should draft a quarterback. But it should go through, but we also don't know what the compensation is going to be. It could end up being that first round pick. I also hopefully have an Aaron Rodgers video being traded coming very, very soon as well. Hopefully in the next day so I can make the mock draft. Anyways, thanks for watching.